To me, I find it insane that we have a society that would allow $100 billion to be cut out of education. And especially, this isn't cut out of education necessarily. It's specifically cut out of building. It's revitalizing and actually bringing schools up to code, bringing them up to date,
Build
and
back
so
America.
and so on. And so, like, it's important to understand. For instance, I teach in a building that was built in 1976 when I was 12 years old. The lighting system that I train my students on is from the 80s. The only thing I was able to update was the sound system. So the thing is that to cut out all this infrastructure, and what's an interesting point we had talked about in the pre-interview, that they had during COVID, what it forced people to do was to think of like airflow for schools, and
Right.
what rooms could be used, what rooms wouldn't be used. And so then they realized that in I think it was on NPR, I'd heard it, which, I mean, it's obvious, but it was just one of those like obvious facts that like, oh, okay. But point being is the idea that they had realized when they were looking at airflow and the design of schools, they had basically done them like warehouses. And so they put much more design focus in like office buildings for like airflow and like flow through the building and so on. And schools are basically built to be human warehouses. That's it. They don't really concern themselves with, which is why there's so many rooms that don't have windows. And so there's a lot of meat there that, you have schools with all kinds of asbestos. My friend who works in a school on the shore, and they have asbestos in their school, and there's I don't think there's any brown people in that school. So the idea that like, to like, it's not just a brown people problem, it's a school problem. Man, if we don't do something to bring our, not only our educational system, but our social structure, right? Because you can fix the schools. If you fix the schools and you keep closing community centers, or like, you keep giving people beat up Wi-Fi in these buildings and so on and so forth, even though they're still paying, they got to pay the same money that we do. And they're getting, and they have crappy internet and so on and so forth. All these kind of things where we're hampering their growth, and then we're surprised that they're not getting anywhere. You can't be Nancy Kerrigan and then be surprised that you didn't win. Yeah, you're gonna have to Google the Nancy Kerrigan, by the way.
The Bible says, the Christian Bible says, as the man thinketh in his heart, so is he. I continually am surprised that people are surprised that we have the conditions that we have. There is absolutely no reason to believe that those people in charge of the educational system want our children to rival their children to be captains of industry. There's no way in the world that you can send your kid and give them a pat on the head in preschool or kindergarten and think that that system is designed to make your child rival the Rockefellers or the other children of the current age. Matter of fact, it never was designed that way. The public education was designed so that back in the Industrial Revolution, people wouldn't get chewed up by the machines. They could read simple signs that said, stop, don't go here, don't wear loose clothing. And it was only because they didn't want to shut down the machinery to remove the body parts. It wasn't altruistic. You know what I mean? It was so that those captains of industry can further their positions at the expense of the masses. We, my friends, are the masses. Our schools represent the masses. We just got a text from our illustrious host talking about even when money is allocated, it seems to be allocated disproportionately to school districts that already have the leg up. Matter of fact, they have both legs up, the arm up, they have their whole head up, you know, and they're still pouring more resources so that they can compete on the global environment. Yet they are making our children marginally literate. And it's a frightening thing to speak to someone who is in college. And I did it as a detective. One of the biggest wake up calls I had in my entire career was having some girls that got into it. They were students at a prestigious school in Manhattan, a criminal justice school. I'm naming no names, but they were all seniors. And I had them write this. They got into a dispute with a cab driver, and I had everybody go into a different room, and I had everybody write down what happened. I thought that they were from Orc's planet. I thought they were from another planet because the writing, the syntax, the spelling, the grammar, the everything. And I had to call them back. I said, "Didn't you guys tell me that you were both, seniors in college?" And they said, "Yes, we did." But they made it that far. So it is frightening, and that is the way the system is designed to work. The system is not designed to work for your child to leave Bed-Stuy to Brownsville or wherever your children are, and to go to Silicon Valley and make millions and millions of dollars and alter the course of modern history. It's not. It's to get a job working for their kids, and therefore you become almost like slavery. You become property, a tool, a pawn to be used to further the bigger goal of those people who have power. And so, just to truncate it, I think that we have to use alternative means and supplement what is there. Don't discard it, because we've earned it. We pay our taxes just like everybody else. We contribute to the system just like everybody else. So we have something coming to us. But we have to divert funds, even if it's our personal funds, in a way so that we can get the best result for our children.